What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to go over kind of a, well, not quick, but more in-depth way to clean your wheels and tires on the car. Keep in mind, though, these aren't super dirty. I've already done a pre-rinse on these. One of the best things I find to use is Carbon Collective fallout remover. Spray this on the wheel after you do a rinse. You'll see the purple. This stuff does a killer job. It's one of the best I've used, probably the best one I've used. So that's why I keep buying it. And then usually on the fender liners, in this case we've got felt ones. And so we're gonna use Multi-Star. It's a pre-cleaner, and we're gonna mist that in there pretty good, let it soak for 4 or 5 minutes. And then we're going to rinse everything off, and that gets the first kind of nasty layer off and makes the rest kind of easy. You're not really dragging a bunch of garbage and scraping things. There's always going to be a tiny bit of micro marring, but a lot less when you do it like that. And so what we'll do is I like to get everything wet first, and I will spray the tire with some good tire cleaner. This is a pretty good one, Oberk tire cleaner. It's not my absolute favorite, but it's up there. I use a couple different ones, but this one's cheaper than CarPro Retire is a good one that I like too. But this one's a little bit more cost effective, especially when you don't have tires that are super dirty like these. Then I've already done a pre-spray in here with the Multi-Star, but I'm going to use Kosh Chemie Green Star. It's a APC, all-purpose cleaner, and I'm just gonna mist the fender liner in here, the felt fender liner, and let that soak while we're doing the whole wheel cleaning and tire cleaning process. So we're letting this soak there for a second. I'm kind of down on wheel cleaner right now, but this is a Grios heavy duty wheel cleaner. It's a pretty good one. It also has some properties in there that'll grab onto iron remover. It has some iron remover properties to it as well. So I'm gonna get in here in between the spokes and on the barrel really well. The caliper and everything. I've already gotten in there a little bit for the pre-wash. And we're gonna let that kind of soak into the wheel. While we're doing that, we're going to clean the tire. One of the brushes I like to use, this is pretty generic. The brand is Purist, which is out of, gosh, Europe. But I mean, there's nothing super special about it. It's plastic, it's not boar's hair, but we want it to be a harder bristle. We'll get that wet. And then what I like to do is I like to start on the inside of the tire, get into that lip there. And then I work my way out and put a pretty good amount of pressure on it. I like to hold it here. If you're holding it like this, you're not getting much pressure. So I like to hold it up here and get enough pressure on it. Okay. And then usually I do another. These tires aren't too dirty. They're not great. As you can see, we've got some browning coming off of them, which is just part of tire wear. It's the top layer kind of shedding, so, and old products, which this is kind of a combination of both. All right, so we've got our dedicated wheel bucket too. So we've got like this, I use this one more so for big trucks. This fender liner we've got for floor mats and tires. That's a good one. It's got plastic bristles, hard. For this one, for softer barrels. So I've got all different kind of sizes because every wheel is different. So now that we've got those clean, we're going to get we're gonna do the face first. We're gonna get the face cleaned first. And a brush that I have for that, this is one of the only chemical guys thing I own, because I'm not a big fan of 99% of their products, but this brush isn't bad. But it's, you know, generic brush from China with their name on it, so it works well. It's almost time for a new one. but I'll be probably getting something else. Most likely my favorite type of material is boar's hair, but it's pricier, but it's really nice and it lasts longer. So you're gonna pay more up front, but it's gonna last a lot longer. So we're gonna get the face of the wheel and kind of in the spokes a little bit just in there, but I'm gonna work in either clockwise or counterclockwise, and I'm gonna start from a position and just kind of end up there. And usually I'll get in the face here. We'll want to use a different brush to get in these lug nuts, because we don't want to have dirty around the edge there. All right, so that's done. Then we're going to go into the barrel there. I'm going to use a brush like this one. These are real nice. They don't hold up super well. I've had this for a couple of months. This is auto fiber. I do like them when they're brand new, but they get beat up pretty quick. So I've got a lot of space in between the rotor and the wheel here, so I might try a wider brush and see if it fits in there so I can get, yeah, so I'm going to use this one. This is Easy Wheel brand. You can get these on Amazon for, I don't know, $30-ish or so, but I've had this one for a couple of years now and it holds up a lot better. So we're just gonna kind of go, I go this way and then I go this way. I want to cover all the surface there, and depending on how dirty the wheels are, I'm gonna rinse it more often so I'm not causing scratches in here. All right, so I'm going to document this, pretty much this whole process. I might speed some things up or not, I don't know, but it's nice to see in real time how to clean a wheel properly. Ideally, cleaning a wheel and wheel well really properly is to do a wheel off and take the car and put it in the air and take all this stuff off to get things properly clean, suspension and all that kind of stuff. But it's not realistic for most people. I do a lot of that, but on this one today, I'm not doing that. So, all right, so we come to the caliper where it's a lot less clearance in there. So we're gonna use this brush so that we don't miss a dead spot in there. Some setups you just can't get in there because the caliper is just too close to the wheel. So those like really pretty much require a wheel off to do correctly. Otherwise you're just gonna miss that spot. All right, and almost forgot this. You want to get in these wheel nuts here with just a nice kind of harder bristle brush, the tongue twister. All right, and then we're going to rinse it off. I usually like to use like I think this is a 40 angle here. All right, so another thing we're gonna do that a lot of people don't is these aren't too dirty in here. The front one wasn't too bad, but we want to get behind here. There's a couple different ways to do that. You can use a brush, or you can use a brush like this and get behind here, which is nice. And these ones are good for wheels that are kind of delicate, or like maybe a flat black or gloss black. You can get behind these just for good measure so that doesn't accumulate, and 3 years later it's gonna have a ton of brake dust behind it. These aren't too bad, so I'm not too worried about them, but it's just good to get behind there and make sure those are nice and clean. These are really nice too. I use these for lower rockers, and then I use these up here. You can just wet these and use them. They kind of have a built-in APC in them, which I'm not sure how long that lasts, probably only a couple times. But these have a nice thick, and you can just clean these things and use them quite a bit. You can also use these to get behind here. These are Klin, K-L-I-N, and you can get these at Detail Division online. That's where I get most of my stuff. Scott's an awesome guy. I'm not getting paid for that. He's just awesome and always takes care of me. So I'll support him. All right, so we're done in here. This is just a regular maintenance wash. I'm not doing anything super crazy on this thing. I'm just showing you how, what the correct way to wash a wheel is. All right, so we've already sprayed this stuff in here. I might spray a little bit more in for good measure. We're going to use a fender liner brush here. Now this one is boar hair. So I've had this for a couple years and it looks relatively new. And so I'm going to take this. Usually I'll put some APC in there. It's nice to have a little bit of foam in there so I can see what I'm doing and where I've been. So we're just going to start on the outside here. Now some cars, this car has the felt here so it doesn't have a lip in here. If it has the lip in here, it likes to collect a lot of mud and dirt. So you'd want to make sure you get the angle on the pressure washer back there and blow that out. Otherwise, it's just going to be full and it's going to get a bunch of crap in there and probably start to corrode the metal back there. So I usually like to work up and down, kind of a crosshatch back and forth so I get any pine needles or, you know, this time of season in Washington, we've got gross earthworms that like tend to squirt up and get in the fender liners. I've noticed that on my own cars. And usually back here with the angle of this thing, I'm going to use a different brush here. I'm going to try this one's got a little bit more of an angle to it. Make sure I get all the way in there. Like I'm rowing a boat right now. All right, now we're gonna rinse this guy out. Now you can pretty much tell when this thing's clean by how the water's gonna come off, and is it the water gonna be clean or the water's gonna be dirty? So it's gonna start out dirty, and as you get all the water, all the dirt out of here, it's gonna be cleaner. So you're kind of gauge it on the water coming off of here, whether it's so you've successfully cleaned the wheel and tire and the wheel well. These ones aren't too bad. Like I said, every wheel is different. These wheels are pretty straightforward to clean, and so it's a good example to show you. So this will dry. If you have anything left over on this, you can take a Tornador, just one of those air pushers that has the throw to it, the vortex, and you can blow anything that's left over on here. You could probably do it when it's wet too, but it's going to work a little bit better when it's drier. So thanks for watching. If this is helpful, please hit the like, subscribe button, and leave a comment on maybe what's different about your process or what you think I missed. Peace.